This is a story all about how my life got twisted upside down. And I'd like to take a minute, just sit right there. I'll tell you how I became the prince of a town called Bel Air. Well, we're not going to do that, but what we are going to do is get into some cabin Q&A. There wasn't this much stuff in it last time. It appears, my good friends of YouTube, that my cabin has been taken over by boxes and storage because someone's moving. But it isn't me this time, it's actually my parents. They're moving down the coast to a town called Bridport, which is super cool. So they're using this as a storage unit. Thanks, Mum and Dad. I need my tripod. Where is my tripod? There it is. Let's get the old tripod out. We're just gonna put you somewhere. Currently balancing on a bag of hangers. Will that do? That'll do. What's up? Alright, so I've had a lot of messages from people wondering, number one, checking in on me. Appreciate it. If you follow me on Instagram, I do my Instagram stories, and I don't like tell too much personal stuff, but I like to keep you up to date a little bit. So, been going through a little bit of a rough time the past few months and had a lot of stuff going on, some life-changing stuff, but I'm doing good and I'm back home. And of course there's always a story to tell, but that story is for another day. Right now though, we're going to get into some cabin Q&A, because the last videos I posted on my channel to do with this cabin got really well received. I appreciate it. Thanks for all the love and support you guys have put on the channel, the questions you've put forward. So I thought I'd answer some of those questions live on a video today, give you guys some more detailed answers on some stuff, and answer some of the questions that I also haven't responded to yet. So let's get into it. How's that? What's the lighting like? Steal this chair as well. Oh yes, sounds like a studio. Bring this in a little bit so that you guys can actually see my face. I don't like that bag of hangers in the shop. That's ruining the shop for me. Looks good with all the grey, but the blue is just throwing it off. Get rid of that bag up there as well. Sorry, Mum. That's the new toaster. Better not damage that. How's that? That's better. We're good. Yeah, this looks good. This looks good. I like this. Looks like I'm in like a warehouse. Except I'm in a cabin. Alright, Dunster House cabin Q&A, and this is for the 5x4 cabin that hasn't got insulated walls, and it's the one that I insulated the floor myself and insulated the roof myself. If you haven't seen the build videos of this cabin, then check out the playlist here. I'll link it at the top, and you can see the 2 or the 3 videos. The final one was kind of just like a bit of an overview, but the first 2 videos feature me actually building this cabin. So if you haven't watched those, check them out up here. And yeah, also for any products or anything like that that I mention in this video, I'll leave all the links below in the description box, so if you guys want to check those out, you can. Okay, first question. So people deciding not to buy the floor, roof and wall insulation from Dunster House. Personal preference, what would I advise? I mean, yeah, if it's a money thing. Like, if money's no object to you and you want a cabin that is going to be warm in the winter to work in, then sure, go for the fully insulated version, because, you know, it's obviously going to be better. However, if you are on a tight budget and you want to do some of the insulating yourself, so you want to insulate the floor and the roof like I've done, then definitely buy the insulation yourself, because it shaves off a substantial amount of the price, and it does the job just fine. I'm going to cover a little bit more more of that as we go through the questions, but I did pretty much live in this cabin for like a year and it served me fine. So yeah, providing you have like a heater in the winter and a fan in the summer, then you know, just by doing the roof insulation and the floor insulation, it was absolutely fine. Okay, next question. How many insulation boards did you get? What size and what thickness? So for the roof, I got 6 insulation boards and they were 6x4 sheets, and I've made notes on my phone, that's why I keep looking at my phone.
You don't know what you're talking about, do you?
So for the roof, I got 6 6x4 sheets of Celotex and they were 25mm thick. That was 4 complete boards, and then 2 of them were trimmed down at the back. And then for the floor, I used 4 complete sheets, and then I think we just used some of the offcuts from the 2 bits we shaved off the roof. But so yeah, it was a total of 10 sheets in all that I used. And again, if you want to see the video of how I fitted the floor and the roof insulation, link up here or in the description box below. So the next question. How many OSB boards did you use for the roof and where did you get them from? So I used 6 OSB boards for the roof, which were 6x4 and they were 11mm thick, and I just got those from a builder's merchant. I think I got, some stuff came from Travis Perkins, other stuff came from Wix, but I basically just got the cheapest I could. But it all depends on like the price of timber at the time, the price of Celotex at the time. So just phone around your local builder's merchants, check the prices, and then just go for what you want. Next question, what felt did you use for the roof? I used a bitumen roofing felt. The link for this is below and you can get it on Amazon. And for the roof, we used 3 rolls. Okay, so next question is, did I strengthen the floor? No. The battens for the floor are only spaced like a foot apart, so they're really close together, and then the actual floor itself is 19mm thick, and that's all tongue and groove. So when that actually all joins together, that adds a lot of strength and rigidity to the floor as well. And unless you're packing this thing with loads of heavy stuff, there really is no need to like strengthen it at all, you know, unless you want to and you're putting a load of heavy stuff in it. So yeah. Next question, where did you get the damp-proof membrane from and what size was it? So again, I'll leave a link below, but I got the damp-proof membrane on Amazon and it was about 20 quid, and I think it was a 4-meter roll. It came with like a 4-meter width. I can't remember what the length of it was, but again, I'll leave it in the description box below. Okay, next question or questions is, I'm looking to get a cabin from Dunster House, but keep getting advised to get the fully insulated 62mm walls, roof and floor. I bet this thing is pretty cold in the winter, depending on the weather. Are you able to use the cabin all year round? So I've already covered that question already at the start. And just to dig into this a little bit more, like these walls on this cabin are 45mm thick, and that's just timber, there's no insulation on there. So it's a pretty good, timber itself is a pretty good insulator. If you are like, you know, if money isn't a problem and you want to go for a fully insulated cabin, I'd definitely recommend it, because it's obviously going to be warmer. But if you're on a budget, like I was, then by just insulating your roof, you could even forget the floor, like just insulating the roof does wonders. Like I just had a tiny little heater in here, a little oil-filled radiator, and that kept me warm all through winter. It was really, really awesome. So next question, do you use a heater for winter, and if so, which one? So yes, I did use a heater for winter. I used an oil-filled radiator, and I will leave the link in the description box below. I'll put one on the screen here. This is the one I used. So yeah, you can get that on Amazon. Did you need a fan for summer? Yes, I did need a fan for summer. It was hot. I think no matter how much like insulating you do or anything like that, there's no escaping the fact that you're buying a wooden cabin. It's going to get hot. So again, if money's no object, I would definitely get something like an air conditioning unit, because that would be amazing. Again, I was on a budget building this because I knew it was only temporary. So I did use a ceiling fan. I bought a ceiling fan, which I have to say was absolute crap. I used it for the first time, and the bearings went within like the first use or the second use. They just started getting all graunchy and like, I don't know, it just failed. It just packed up, and I got in touch with the company and I tried to get a replacement, and they said they're going to send me one, and a year and a half later I'm still waiting, and about 19 emails. So yeah, crap fan. Just get yourself a standard desk one. This is the one I ended up using in the end, and I will leave a link to the description of them. And this is the one I ended up using in the end, and I shall leave a link in the description box below. So next one, roughly how much was your electrician's costs? Okay, so to run, so I spent a little bit of money because I also replaced the fuse board in my mum and dad's house that they got. That needed doing as well, and they wanted to do that before they sold this place anyway, so it was a prime time to do it when we were actually going to be running the electrics out here. But to run the cable from that box all the way out to the cabin, put all the sockets in here, plus the internet, run the internet cable, which is a Cat 5 cable. I think I put in the comments somewhere to answer somebody's question it was a Cat 7 cable. That's wrong. Sorry.
You don't know what you're talking about, do you?
It's actually a Cat 5, I think it's a Cat 5A cable, but that's super fast. And like, you know, I design a lot of websites and do a hell of a lot of work online, and yeah, that does me absolutely fine when I was working here. But yeah, to do all of the electrics in the cabin, put the board in, the internet, all the sockets, all that stuff, and run all the cable, pay for everything as well, it was about £1,000, and that was mates rates from a friend of mine. But you know, I would just advise you that if you're looking to have electrics like that done in your cabin, you can actually get an electrician to come round and give you a quote before you actually buy the cabin in the first place. So you can kind of put all the costs together, see the overall budget, and then go from there. Alright, next one is wood preservative. Which one did you use? How many coats? And how long did it take to dry? So I can't pronounce the name of this this preservative. I haven't been able to pronounce it since the day I bought the stuff, but anyway, I'll put it on the screen, link in description below as well. I gave it 3 coats, this cabin, on the outside, and I used like a spray bottle and just kind of sprayed it on, and it just soaked in real fast. How many coats was it? Yeah, 3 coats, and yeah, within about an hour it's touch dry, but I think I left it like 2 hours between coats, but within a day I had 3 coats on the cabin and I was done, so yeah. Screws for the door handles should be on the inside. So a couple of people noted that the screws for the door handle are actually going on the outside. So from the outside they're screwing in. So you could, if you wanted to, unscrew them. Yes and no. So you can't actually change that. So there's nothing on the inside. They're captive nuts on the other side of the handle. So, and no matter which way round you try and mount it, like that's the only way the handle can go. So yeah. There's nothing you can do about that, unfortunately, but the handle does secure from the actual lock on the side of the door as well, so there isn't actually any way of kind of like breaking in, but it is kind of a wooden cabin as well. Like if you want to get into it, you could like just prise the doors off. So alright, so next question is gutters. Did you fit yours, and where does your water drain away? So yes, I did fit gutters. I think I got 2 lengths, 2 3-meter lengths, which was ample for doing this job, of black standard like D gutter or whatever you call it, and I just stood it off of the side of the cabin by about 3 or 4 inches using blocks, and this just enabled, with the pitch of the roof and the position of the walls being kind of set back in a little bit, it just enabled me to get that kind of nice run off of the roof so as that all the water was captured in the gutter and didn't go flooding over into the garden. And then round the back of the cabin I've got 4 water butts which are all joined together. Well, 2 of them are joined together, one side and 2 the other side, and then they've both got a drain off as well. So because mum and dad have got a big garden here, we wanted to put 4 200-litre water butts behind there so that we can collect a lot of rainwater and can then obviously water the garden when the droughts come, which doesn't really happen that often in England, but we've got it if we need it. Alright, so we're down to the last couple of questions. This one here is quite an interesting one, and I'm going to put some text on the screen for you guys so you can screenshot this. I'll probably put it in the description below as well. But it's, do you need some kind of approval from your council to put this in your garden? Okay, so I did some research on this when I was actually looking to build this cabin. UK outbuildings and garden shed are what are called permitted developments. This means that they shouldn't come with any planning constraints to a degree. Whilst you typically won't need planning permission or you know, before construction or anything like that, the minute you put a bed in one though, you will need permission because it's considered like, you know, an extra kind of house or whatever. So if you're not sure about, you know, what kind of limitations there are for you, definitely check with your local council. But here's the basics. Garden sheds and outbuildings must be 1 story and a maximum the maximum eaves height cannot exceed 2.5 meters. Overall, your shed or cabin cannot exceed 4 meters in height for a dual pitched roof, or 3 meters with any other type of roof, which is like the old flat roofs and stuff. If a garden shed or cabin is to be situated within 2 meters of a dwelling house or boundary, the maximum height is 2.5 meters. Eave heights cannot exceed 2.5 meters. So in short, that was like about 18 months ago, 2 years ago, when I was looking at building this cabin. But if you're unsure on any of that stuff, definitely reach out to your local council and just see what kind of permission you need, if any, because full disclaimer, like, I'm not saying any of the information I'm giving in this video is right. Please, like, do your own research, do your own due diligence, and reach out to your local council office to see where you stand with whatever cabin you're getting from Dunster House. And the final question is, would I recommend Dunster House? That's a question that's come up quite a bit actually, and had a few messages on. Yeah, 100%. They're an amazing company. It was super easy to order my cabin, and for me the best part about Dunster was when it was actually getting to the point of the guys coming out to deliver it. There was loads of like confirmation emails and stuff saying they were going to be on their way, and also when the guys turned up, they unloaded it so swiftly. Like, they loaded it all under my mum and dad's carport, and they just stacked everything neatly, and it was just a super efficient process. So in 2 years on, I've had, like, I say 2 years, well, it's nearly 2 years. So nearly 2 years on, I've had no issues at all with this cabin. It's been amazing. All the timber is really nice quality, and yeah, highly recommend them. Good company. And that's it, done with questions. If you have any other questions at all, then feel free to drop them in the comments below. I'd love to answer them. And yeah, appreciate you guys sticking around. There is one thing though, like, the actual side of the cabin is really dirty. It's like gone black almost, and down here, but I think that's to do with the concrete. It's like the water's been splashing up against the concrete, and it's just like, so yeah, compared to higher up where it's pretty clean, like, but that's about the only thing. So the rest of it is pretty mint. So yeah, for those of you looking to purchase a cabin from Dunster, highly recommended. Overall though, 2 years later, it's still bloody good cabin. It's a little bit dirty, and it could do with a recoat on the old wood preservative. It's gonna be sad to leave it behind, but Mum and Dad need to sell. They got to go and get their dream home, and I've got my own plans as well. But again, that's another story. I appreciate everyone who's left a comment and a like on the past videos. Again, if you want to see those, if you want to see the build of this cabin, then go down to the description box and you'll see the playlist for the cabin build, and you can check out all the videos there, and all the links for all of the products I've talked about in this video as well, link below. So appreciate you guys watching. Take it easy, and I'll see you in the next one.